We could be just a few days away from disaster in the crypto markets. In this video, we're going to go through some of the fundamental levels on both XRP and BTC charts. And despite the short-term bearishness for XRP, there has been some major updates that are pointing towards a cryptocurrency gold standard, and XRP could be at the center. So let's get started with gold and the intersection with XRP and digital assets. Then we will move to the charts, and finally I'm going to give you my honest opinion on what I think is going to happen next to the crypto markets. And before you get started, if you're enjoying this type of videos, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. No more time to waste, let's get started.
Would returning to gold standard help the U.S. economy? Can you talk a little about your thoughts on that?
Well, I would say I don't see it so much as returning, but more of a back to the future.
Okay.
I think that what a gold standard stands for is monetary discipline for its own sake. That is, if money is supposed to be a unit of account and a reliable measure and a dependable store of value, it really shouldn't be subject to who's the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And I think that money needs to be stable and provide the foundation for productive economic growth. And when money is just a variable that financial markets toss around, or it's part of a derivatives formula, or it's part of someone speculating on currencies, it's not serving the private sector in the sense of providing that reliable unit of account so you can make plans. And under a gold standard, you did have that stability, and I think that's what's missing. And so I like the idea of a gold standard. I mean, it could be used in a very cryptocurrency way. The point is, do you have a unified money system so that when you talk about the international marketplace, everyone is playing on a level monetary playing field? And it's very important to have a rules-based approach. And that's why I'm advocating that we need to look at the virtues of a gold standard and try to come up with something much closer to matching those. And then I think we would have more solid economic growth.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, they are giving us the blueprint, a cryptocurrency gold standard, a unified system. That's exactly what Earth Recorder stands for, a unified system. Thank you. My coffee just arrived, inspired by David's, the coffee talk. In my case, I'm drinking a Freddo espresso, which is quite different, traditional in Greece. So let's get back to the video. As I just mentioned, they are giving us the blueprints, a cryptocurrency gold standard, a unified ledger. And just think about this. The future is about interoperability between multiple ledgers, and this is the clear path for digital asset implementation into the new financial system. Without a unified standard, we would have fragmentalization on the financial system, and that's not good for the world economy. The XRP ledger capabilities can deal with interoperability, and that's exactly what Judy Shelton is talking about when she mentions a unified ledger, a unified system, basically. I've said multiple times, the International Monetary Fund is highly connected with Ripple. There could come a scenario where the Bank of International Settlements could provide the regulatory framework, and then the International Monetary Fund could actually include XRP into an SDR, a special drawing rights, a basket of currencies where XRP becomes part of that basket of currencies. We are moving towards a global reset that's already happening in real time, and a new financial system where fiat currencies are not tied to gold. In other words, gold is not backing up the financial system, would be just a repackaging of the current financial system that is already broken by design. And when you see gold making new all-time highs, silver doing the same, you really understand that the dollar is falling apart. The dollar as a reserve currency has already failed. We are just waiting for the unfolding of geopolitical events that are going to be the nail in the coffin to the US dollar. And this is what most people are missing out, because the new system is going to operate with cryptocurrencies. In the new digital economy, cryptocurrencies must have a correlation with gold. There must be a connection between the digital assets that are going to play a pivotal role in the new financial system and precious metals. And now let's go back to the short-term volatility. The crypto markets right now are not looking great. If you have been following my previous live streams, you know that I have been predicting this scenario. So here is what you should be watching for in both XRP and BTC charts. For BTC, the key level is $73,000. That's actually the major support level on the charts. And there is a very close connection between MicroStrategy and this particular level on the charts. This is, of course, the average BTC purchase price. Peter Schiff is already making the call. He writes, MicroStrategy stock closed down 90.5% today, a new 52-week low. This stock is down nearly 70% from its all-time high. Saylor spent $54 billion over the past 5 years buying over 700,000 BTC at an average price of just over $76,000. By the way, that's not the correct average price. It's a bit lower, but as I said, his total unrealized gain is less than 11%. Too bad he didn't buy gold. MicroStrategy stock closed down 9.5% today. Well, in theory, they bought $54 billion worth of BTC, and that has done nothing to the chart. Can you imagine how much selling pressure there is on BTC charts? That they bought nearly $100 billion and the price is actually moving down? Well, let me tell you what's happening. MicroStrategy is borrowing money from creditors, so they are not using their own capital. And what's happening is that all of these dormant BTC wallets, early BTC mined back in 2011, please go watch my on-chain investigation about those wallets. But to make a long story short, all of those BTC that are sitting idle for over 16 years, BTC that are sitting idle since Satoshi era coins, they do have connections with Satoshi wallets directly. And here is where it gets interesting. They send those BTCs to centralized exchanges in tranches of 2,000 or 3,000 BTC for time. They are now sending large sums of BTC to those centralized exchanges. And then they sell this BTC to MicroStrategy, which is then used borrowed money, which is not their own capital. And basically they created the infinite money glitch until eventually the Ponzi scheme is going to fail. And that's going to be the downfall of BTC, which is also artificially inflated by Tether. This is a fake system. BTC has no intrinsic value. Now, coming back to XRP charts, you need to be watching for 160, because if XRP goes below 160, we could see a massive black swan event for XRP where price could drop as low as 70 cents. That's entirely on the table. I'm telling you, there's not much support levels on the chart. When you look at the structure, there's not much support levels on XRP charts if it drops below $1.60. Do I think that's going to happen? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do have buying orders in case that happens. And just to make something very clear, I remain extremely bullish on XRP on the long term, but on the short term, we have to be realistic. Of course, I would love to come here, make bold price predictions, tell you that by the end of the week, we would be at $100, but that's not the scenario that's unfolding. But there is, however, one good sign. XRP's price appreciation depends on the failure of the current financial system. The way money flows has to basically fundamentally change. And with gold making new all-time highs, the dollar losing its purchasing power, look at the carry trade unfolding in Japan. That are all indicators that XRP adoption is happening. Now back to the charts, 160 major support level on the charts. And for us to come here and talk about bullish momentum, XRP has to break through $2.30. Anything in between doesn't matter at all. These are the two most important levels on the chart. We need to be watching for these levels in the next weeks. And I think it's wise to have some capital aside. This is not a financial advice, but if you want to increase your XRP bag, that might be your final opportunity. Thank you, everyone. Let me know in the comments if you are bullish about XRP adoption. What do you think happens next? XRP back above $2 or XRP to lose $1.60 support level? And finally, if you want to trade crypto without KYC, I'm going to drop a link in the description of this video. Is the exchange partner of this channel. Bitunix has an exclusive campaign with me, and you can withdraw up to $500,000 per day without KYC. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to see you in the next one.